Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 14th day of January 2026. I hope you're all safe and healthy today, that your family's safe and healthy, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the area of health, along with first responders every day trying their best to save lives. Blessings upon those that pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are helping those that are victims of prostitution and child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create the demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There's going to be a basketball game tonight. The New York Knicks play their third road game in the West Coast trip. That's a 4-game trip. They played and lost to Phoenix, played a good game. They played another good game and beat Portland. And tonight they're playing the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Sacramento Kings have had terrible management, and I mean absolutely terrible. And anybody that's complaining in New York needs to stop. Take a good look at Sacramento. They don't know how to build a roster. They have screwed up building a roster, including this year. And they're going to have to clean house and start over again. So they had opportunities to build rosters, and then one just looked like they were about to. They would make a bad trade, bad decision, mess themselves up. And that's the thing, brethren. Good management does not shoot itself in the foot constantly. The Knicks used to do that before the dawn came. They used to shoot themselves in the foot constantly. One of the things that changed for the Knicks is the owner, Dolan, decided to put the basketball in the hands of somebody that knew pro basketball. First, he tried it, of course, with Phil Jackson. That didn't work out, so he erased that mistake and eventually settled on Leon Rose, who has been the Don, taking care of business and has the whole organization now turned around. Now, I don't know what the Sacramento owner is doing or what he thinks or whatever, but the roster sucks. Now, that being said, this is the league, and the Sacramento Kings are on a 2-game winning streak. They've had Dennis Schroeder was suspended for fighting, and they've replaced him in the starting lineup with Russell Westbrook. Now, the thing is, I had somebody saying we should get Westbrook. No, we shouldn't get Westbrook. The thing is that Russell Westbrook is past his prime. He's still playing very well for somebody that's so old and been in the league so long. He's playing very well. But they also inserted a friend of ours, Precious Achiuwa, into the starting lineup. And they beat, on back-to-back nights, they beat Houston and then followed that up the next night, beating the Lakers, with Luka dropping 42. Okay? So they've won 2 in a row. Precious is playing inspired ball. Now, I know a lot of us were hoping that we could get Precious. It's highly unlikely because, and I'm not just talking about because he's doing what most of us knew he was capable of doing. But what's going on right now is Zach LaVine is on a $47.5 million contract with a player option next summer for $49 million. Sabonis is on a $42 million contract, which is that contract has got 3 more seasons. This season and 2 more after it. 42, 45, and 48. DeMar DeRozan is on the last year for $24.7 million. He's getting this year, age 36. And then Malik Monk has got 3 more this season and 2 more seasons at about $20 million. And that's pretty much their big ones. Now, they got young Keegan Murray, he's 25. They got Keon Ellis, he's 26, and he's only making 2.3. They got Precious, who's 26, and he's only making 2. So what you have right now is the nucleus to start over. But they're going to have to, in order to get off some of these deals, like they can get off Levine next season, after this season, because he's got the player option, and maybe they can trade him somewhere where somebody will sign him to a longer, like 3 to 4 year deal, and he'll get more than the total of $48 million that he's getting that one for this one summer, this 1 year. But they need to clean up their books. They need to clean up their roster, and so they're probably, let's see, right now they got their first round pick for this coming season. Next season they got their, for this summer, the next summer they got their first round, plus they got they have one going to San Antonio, but it's 17-30, and so they could get that deal, and then they got their first round picks for a while, and they're going to need them, and they got plenty of second round capital as well, so they're going to need all that, because they're going to need to give somebody picks to get off some of these contracts, and they got to get off these contracts. Now, I am making an assumption, perhaps incorrectly, that they will try to get off these contracts and clean up their books and start over. I'm making an assumption. They're going to be in the lottery. They only won 10 games. They're going to be in the lottery. So they need to get rid of Levine, DeRozan, Sabonis. Maybe they keep Monk. He's a reasonable deal. And, of course, they keep the young, as I mentioned, Keegan Murray. They keep Keon Ellis. I would keep Precious if I was them. You could sign Precious. Once you get rid of these other guys, you could sign Precious something around a mid-level exception, which they have available. They can sign him to the full mid-level exception and keep him as well. And so I would start all over again with some young guys and get rid of these overpaid guys that are not winning players. And that's the thing. I know everybody got fans. Zach LaVine had many fans wanting him to come to New York. Stupid. And then the Sabonis was good in Indiana, and he's been pretty good in Sacramento. Then, of course, there's DeMar DeRozan, who was on, just so happened he leaves Toronto. Kawhi comes. That's the only change, and they won the championship. So there's that. So I'm just saying, these guys are not winning players. There are players that win. And then there are players that are really talented. They're one of the top 400 players in the world. They play in the league. But they're not the type to get you to the promised land or even be a part of a team that gets you to the promised land. They're not Josh Hart. So we have to be careful. What we want to do when come in and play the Knicks basketball, which means protect the paint, which means win the rebounding battle, which means win points in the paint battle, which means get the ball in Cat's hands a lot, which also means Jalen Brunson pick his spots, and if he needs to take over late in the game, do so. That's it. We need to play, and then we need not have anyone get hurt. That's what we do. Nobody get hurt. Everybody, nobody. I don't want anybody, either team get hurt. Just don't get hurt. Play our game. Get out of there with a dub. That's what we got to do. Like I said, this is a situation where they're not playing for nothing. So there's no pressure on the Kings. There's no pressure on them. They don't care if, they're not playing for a playoff spot. They're at the bottom, pretty much close, if not at the bottom, close to the bottom of the West. So they're not playing for nothing but a draft pick at this point. They put Westbrook out there. Okay, whatever. See? So, and then he's setting records or whatever, for longevity or whatever. Okay, so that's what they're doing. Sacramento has always had a very strong fan base, since the days of Chris Webber, since the days of White Chocolate. They've always had a fan base. They were battling the Lakers back in the day. But they haven't been that good in more than 25 years, really. So they got to restart. So right now, the Knicks got the advantage. The Knicks have a solid team. They have a team that's put together perfectly for a championship run. They got a solid coaching staff. Of course, Mike Brown's coming back to the Kings after having started to, it's almost like he was trying to get a spark going over there, and they couldn't sustain it. So what part of the problem, of course, with the Kings is their lack of defense. They don't play defense. And they haven't played defense in a while. I'm talking about many years. Under Mike Brown, because Sabonis, Zach LaVine, tremendous offensive players. But don't ask them to play defense. And you cannot win in the league. We talk about this. You cannot win without defense. They give up 121 points a game. They're negative 11 in their net rate, in their net rating, not net rating, but in their differential. They're negative 11. They score 110 a game. But again, they just won 2 straight, back to back against Houston and the Lakers. This is not a good time to be messing around. So we got to come in there, take care of our business today. One thing, Cat can be a bully, and we like him being a bully. Okay, we like that. He can't whine to the ref. He's got to have the ball in his hands, though. Let him decide what he's going to pass, cut, shoot, whatever. Give him the damn ball and move out the way. Keep cutting, because he will find you. So we should be in a good spot right here. We just don't want nobody to get hurt. Yeah, it looks like, it's tempting for somebody to say this should be an easy win. I will never say that, because this is the NBA. Anybody could beat anybody on any given night. Here's a perfect example tonight. This team, like I said, just beat Houston and Lakers on back-to-back nights. They're starting Precious Achiuwa. He's got a lot to play for. He wants some money, okay? He's going to be ready. Russell Westbrook plays with pride, which is, about as good as you could say about any player. He plays with pride at 100% tilt every play, okay? So we got to be ready. Levine just likes to try to beat the Knicks, period. And then there's DeRozan, who is a footwork mid-level, mid-range master. He just doesn't know how to close to get his team over the top. He's just not that guy. But we got to play honest, got to play real, got to be straight. Okay? Nobody get hurt. Keep Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench. The bench crew, Mitch Rob, Deuce, Jordan Clarkson, West 4th Street. Okay? And of course, we could have, Yabusele is going to be available today. He's going to be available today. I don't know if he's going to play, but he's going to be available today. Yabusele. But Mitch Rob, Deuce, Jordan Clarkson, who else? That's pretty much it. Mitch Rob, Deuce, and Jordan Clarkson. And then you got Tyler Kolek, maybe. He should, if things go right today, maybe Kolek gets a good 5, 6, 7 minutes today. But now you got tightening up that rotation and getting ready for the stretch run. So Brunson, Hart, Bridges, Anunoby, and Towns, then whatever. Now, I had said many weeks ago that I was looking for Shamet to be back for the MLK Day game. Knicks play on MLK Day forever, okay, since there's been MLK Day. The Knicks play every Martin Luther King Day, every Monday, every year that Monday, which is this coming Monday. So I'm hoping we get Shamet back by then, if not before. Now, if you're looking at BSPN, they're estimating that he should be back by Saturday against Phoenix, and I would love that. The sooner we can get Shamet back, the better. So that's a possibility. Like I said, the only piece that could be on the move for the Knicks right now is Yabusele. There's nobody else that's really going to get traded. Nor should they. Okay. Kolek, I can see a possibility of trading him, not because, and again, don't jump ahead of me now with some stupid comment. I'm just saying that Don has a way of putting players in position to be successful, meaning if they're not getting minutes in New York, he tries to put them in position to get minutes on another team. Kolek needs minutes. He's not going to get them. Okay, it just is what it is. He's not going to get them. Okay, with Deuce, Clarkson, and then Shamet coming back, he ain't get them. So right now, Kolek is developing nicely under Mike Brown on both sides of the ball. But he needs an opportunity to play. And like I said, he will not get it. Some of y'all just don't get them. He's not going to play, okay? He's going to play very little. And the kid needs an opportunity. So there's I can see which we have seen in the past with other players, that he gets traded to a team that's going to put him in the rotation. Okay, and there's a few teams that could do that. Okay, we talked about a Jose Alvarado, but I don't understand the talk about Alvarado. Not that he wouldn't fit with the Knicks, he would, but Deuce ain't losing no minutes. Jordan Clarkson ain't losing no minutes. Shamet ain't losing no minutes. So the question would be, where the hell would Jose Alvarado play? He's not going to back up Jalen Brunson. Deuce is. Okay, so and that's what I'm saying. A lot of people just won't catch that memo. Like they think somehow every season, dude's gonna get replaced by somebody, and y'all keep waiting because it ain't gonna happen. Some knucklehead mentioned yesterday, will we trade dudes for Tari Eason? I was like, I wish y'all would just leave NBA 2K alone because some of y'all get stupidly ridiculous with some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth. But Kolick could be moved. If you add Kolick with Yabusele, you might be able to get a Sadiq Bey. Okay, I can see that. You might be able to get a Sadiq Bey. Although Sadiq Bey is now starting because of injuries in New Orleans. New Orleans sucks. And basically, they got a clean house too. Zion Williamson is the big nut that's going to have to go. I don't know if he's going to go at this trade deadline or over the summer, but he's going, okay? I can guarantee you that. They need to start over. They built around him, and he keeps disappointing them. Either he gets hurt or he's eating too much and gets fat or both. So teams ain't got money to just throw away. So somebody else is going to be out there like this Knicks fan was thinking, you know what, we'll change him. Okay, fine. They're going to move off him, which means they're going to rebuild again. They got Jeremiah Fears, and they got, the young boy Queen, So maybe they rebuild. Guy like Sadiq, in fact, looking for money and dubs, he might be out. He might want to be out. So a Kolick and Yabusele, and somebody's probably thinking, well, why aren't you mentioning Daddy? What I'm saying to you is, they could trade Daddy with Yabusele, or they could save Daddy or save Kolick for another trade in the summer. Okay. So right now, let's see what happens. I don't think, unless Sacramento is really high on, and that's why I'm mentioning it. If Sacramento is really high on Tyler Kolick, and that's possible, they really went through point guard. They had Fox, Davion Mitchell, and Halliburton. They don't have none of them now. Guess what else they got? Nothing. No wins. So they might be high on a Kolick at $2 million. Okay, and maybe they're willing to give us Precious with Yabusele and Kolick. They got money. They can facilitate that. So it depends on what Sacramento is going to do. And with a team like that, I cannot tell you because they're so badly managed. I could tell you what the Knicks are going to do because they're well managed. So let's think of what a well managed team would do. And well managed teams do not play NBA 2K. They manage the team to get to the promised land, which is what the Knicks have been doing, what the Dons have been doing. He playing chess with most of y'all that are talking about going to get people don't know what the hell you're talking about, playing checkers. Sacramento still plays checkers. So, I don't know, but I'm just telling y'all, Kolick or Daddy or both could be moved. Okay, the Knicks going to have 2 extra second round picks with this Washington Wizards situation. We could get a solid player. Like I said, a Sadiq Bey in place of Yabusele would be solid. But then again, maybe Yabusele's got, maybe he caught his stride. We're going to find out. I kind of think the Knicks have already made a decision. We just don't know what it is. They don't it's not necessarily game to game, although that does happen. One time there was a guy, he played for the Celtics. And he was just like Jalen Brunson father, like a minimum contract dude, 10-day contract dude. And one night he dropped 52. Everybody was calling about him. So that does happen once in a while. Yeah, and he's a coach now. I forgot his name. But he played for the Celtics. And one night he just went off and dropped 52. And then all of a sudden his wife said, I thought your agent be calling. And he is. So anything could happen, but I think a decision has been made, and I think the Knicks are just looking for the right deal. That's how the Don works. He ain't going to just buy the first thing comes along. He's going to look for the number he wants, and what he's looking for, he knows. So he'll shop until he gets what he wants. If he don't, he'll just hang on to Yabusele. That's how it works. So we'll see. But anyway, the Knicks got a good chance to do some business tonight. Nobody get hurt. Play our game, and this is a good game to practice sticking with your game plan. So let's let them do that. And let's see how we can get out of here with a dub tonight, man, and move on to the next one. All right. If the Knicks are able to win tonight, they would be 2-1 on this road trip and a guarantee of at least 500 on the road trip. You know, they still got Golden State tomorrow, back to back. Okay, so we'll see. And I'm thinking Mitchell Robinson's not on the injury report, so I'm thinking Mitch Robinson's going to play tonight. But damn it, I'd like to see him play tomorrow night too, because he's coming off the bench. It ain't like he's got to play heavy minutes. But we'll see. The Knicks are really they're being very cautious with him. And it's not just the Knicks management, by the way. It's the Knicks management and it's Mitch Rob's handlers, his people, his agents and them. They're being careful too, because they want to make sure their boy gets paid this summer. So that's all working in this. But we'll see what happens. But Mitch Rob is going to play tonight. I don't know about tomorrow against Golden State. We have to see. But anyway, I'm hoping Shamit's ready soon, though. That would be nice. Y'all enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy your day. Be safe. Sure.